I just want to say thank you for your support and thank you for watching my videos. And a way for me to show my appreciation is to give away this free $75 Amazon gift card. So if you want to claim the gift card, all you got to do is enter this code right here on the Amazon checkout aisle. Folks, you may want to take action soon because the federal government announced more federal rebate checks. Consumers may soon get up to $14,000 in rebates, as long as states opt in to make the funds available. Now, consumers may soon be able to access the $14 grand of the federal rebates for making energy-efficient upgrades to their home. The rebates are part of the Inflation Reduction Act, which earmarked $370 billion in spending for policies to fight climate change, amounting to the biggest piece of climate legislation ever. The Inflation Reduction Act devotes a total of $8 billion for the two initiatives. In essence, they are consumer discounts to cover the partial, or in some cases full, installation and process of heating and Energy Star appliances. The rebates are generally designed to be delivered at this point of sale from a retailer or contractor. The value varies depending on factors like project expense, household income, and total energy savings. States which will administer the funds must apply the USDA Department of Energy to receive their allocated grants. And now the earliest adopters must be able to implement their respective programs and begin issuing rebates near the end of the year, but most likely will do so next year too. One state is Florida. It has publicly actually signaled that it does not intend to apply for this, and only California and Texas have a high state allocation. But as a result, the state isn't applying for federal rebates. It's unclear if that stance will change over the years. Even Joe Biden is set to take more forceful action to ending remote work in the coming months, according to a new report citing email from Biden's chief of staff. The plan builds on a pledge that Biden made during 2022 to fill our great downtowns with as many offices and spaces in Washington, D.C., which are still largely empty. He wants to make a change.
Their bachelor's degree, probably like some of you, that path just isn't right for all of them. And Joe understands that for most people, a high school diploma alone isn't enough to find a great career. But that doesn't mean that there's only one path to success. And that's why he's
on the offensive. I have high hopes in the coming days or weeks they will liberate part of their territory occupied by Russia. The assistance we have provided in a bipartisan fashion and our European allies has made all the difference.
So, guaranteed paid sick time. So that's not cool, and that's not right, and it's definitely not good, and it's definitely not what we want to hear from Joe Biden. What we want to see is that Joe Biden do more for the people in sending out stimulus payments, because he should definitely do something now while he still has the chance. Because as the U.S. enters a recession this year, everybody, we have important news for Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and even SSA. They have proposed a brand new stimulus program. When I say they, I'm talking about Democrats and Republicans. They will allocate billions of dollars towards new relief. Some Americans will receive these checks automatically, while others are going to take half to a little bit more action. So there is a little less than a month before Colorado residents even who file their taxes receive this extra money. The Colorado cashback program, for instance, will give taxpayers who filed their 2021 taxes by October 17th, $750 by the end of this month of January. Eligible couples will get $1,500, and even the governor, who signed the law in May, is set to return the money to taxpayers, as he originally intended for the payment to be $400 for individual filers and $800 for couples. According to the Colorado Department of Revenue, the amount was increased due to excess state revenue. The payment arriving by the end of the month will be for state residents who filed an extension, and the first round of payments was for people who had filed their taxes by June 30th and paid to residents September 30th payments. So, example of this is what I'm talking about, and when Colorado residents, they must be 18 or older by the end of this year to claim this free stimulus credit. Free stimulus credit, folks, because if a taxpayer who's eligible to receive this check owes any money to the government, like a child support or unpaid parking tickets, well, the rebate amount will decrease. Also, everybody, President Biden and top lawmakers fanned out across the country this week to visit bridges that are said to be repaired with new infrastructure money. President stopped at, for instance, the Brent Spence Bridge, which crosses the Ohio River, connecting Connecticut and Kentucky. The event touting an infusion of repair money going to bridges, not people. Why is it going to bridges? I have no idea, everybody. We all have to blame it on President Biden because the focus of the White House and the GOP leadership on areas of bipartisan cooperation is a marked contrast to the House Representatives, as they're still struggling to enact somebody to take charge. So what I want to say is that the infrastructure law put aside $100 billion for roads and bridges, And now rural broadband, ports, and other items are having some difficulties around us. For instance, this week's visit coincided with the announcement that approximately $2 billion of the money will be set aside for repairs in a large bridge program, which includes the Brent Spent Bridge and 3 other bills that the administration describes as some of America's most economically significant spans. Now, Kamala Harris also has visited Ford Drawbridge in the south side of Chicago near Illinois. She's talking about something about to repair these bridges, and Biden and other officials have also talked about lauding the importance of economic repairs for bridges in the business community. In total, the infrastructure law puts aside $40 billion for somebody to take care of this thing. Joe Biden has made several previous bridge visits during his time in office, including spans in Pennsylvania and New Hampshire, providing a visual reminder of the infrastructure money at work and with the economic consequences if despair had continued. So far, an infrastructure report card from the American Society of Civil Engineers put a spotlight on the overall problem. Of the more than 600,000 bridges in the United States, about 47,000 of them are classified as structurally deficient. The question remains just how much of the current efforts will resolve the overall problem. Civil Engineers estimates that $125 billion is needed for America's bridge repairing backlog, underscoring that additional investment will likely take place in the coming years, the coming days. What I do know is that Joe Biden's got to do something.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, after the 4.5 days and 15 votes to find a speaker, we started with our business by passing rules. The Republican rules and first day's activities were to help the rich and the powerful avoid taxes. The government, like any entity, just like any business, has to have revenue. And when people don't pay their fair share, they're cheating. They're committing crimes. They're defrauding their fellow citizens because their fellow citizens either have to pay more money to make up the difference or they don't get services that they otherwise would be provided through the government. By revoking all of those monies to the IRS to hire new employees, they are giving wealthy corporations and wealthy individuals like Donald Trump, who had only one auditor looking at his return, which was not looked at within the time period it was supposed to be looked at under the law or the policy of the government at the time. They're giving those people an open door to continue to make their IRS payments, really not payments, but their first offers. And that's what they do. It's not filing your return, it's filing your first offer. So if they get away with that, which I don't think they will in the Senate, they are depriving the middle class, who they said they were trying to support, services and fairness, and that the middle class will have to pay